أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وبه نستعين وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين أما بعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته أهلا وسهلا ومرحبا بكم إلى درس جديد من دروس اللغة العربية بين يديك. نعم. 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 بدأنا الدرس أمس بهذا النص العربية الفصيحة وأثرها. أظن قبل ذلك آه، أخذنا هذه التدريبات خاصة apologies, this book is always dragging. نعم. بدأنا بهذا التدريب وناقشنا حول هذه المشكلات. نعم. مشكلات في الكلام، مشكلات في الاستماع، ومشكلات في القراءة وفي الكتابة، في القواعد، الأصوات إلى الآخر. وبعد ذلك قرأنا هذا النص حول العربية الفصيحة وأثرها في اللغات أخرى. نعم. وأخذنا هذه التدريبات وتوقفنا هنا. نعم. توقفنا هنا. ملاحظة نحوية. ملاحظة نحوية. وهي كان وأخواتها. كان وأخواتها. قال المصنف: كان فعل. كان يعني كان وفعل ماد. فعل ماد ناقص يدخل على الجملة الاسمية. وفعل ماضي ناقص. فعل ماضي يعني فعل ماضي ليس فعل مضارع. كان. نعم. يدخل على الجملة جملة الاسمية فيرفع لمبتدأ ويسمى اسمها، وينصب الخبر ويسمى خبرها. من أخوات كان صار وليس وأصبح وظل وما زال. Okay. Now it's saying here that كان. So there's a particular word in Arabic called kana. Must have seen it severally. So it's defining that word for us and explain to us what it is actually. Okay? So it's telling us that this kana wa akhawatuha, kana not just kana, that is the topic. Kana is the word, and this kana has akhawat, brothers or sisters, afwan. So you have among them is what he has listed. These are the other ones. Sorrow, Laysad, but these are just some of them. Okay, these are some of them. You have more. So it's telling us here. Upon, I'm being distracted, sorry. Now, apologies. Yeah. So these are some of the other ones that belong to the group. Sorrow, Laysas, Bahag, Dolla, wa Mazala. So there are more than this, but it just give us some. That is why I said main akhawat. So part of them. So not everything. So you have basically this kind of what it does. First and foremost, it's telling us it's a fail. It's a verb. It's a verb. That is what we should know. First and foremost, it's a verb. So it might not look like a verb to us. We are used to other form of verbs, but it's actually a verb. So it's a verb. Then it's saying it's in Madi. So it's also in Madi. Then it's telling us Naqis. I'll explain what this Naqis means after the class. Don't want to disrupt the class now. So then you have يدخل على الجملة الاسمية. So it's used on جملة الاسمية. I think we discussed جملة الاسمية before now, that we have two forms of sentences. Sentences we have جملة الاسمية وجملة الفعلية. جملة الاسمية وجملة الفعلية. So we have two of them. But in this case, we have جملة الاسمية. We're talking about جملة الاسمية now. And it says فيرفع المبتدأ. فيرفع المبتدأ. So it makes the mubtada, it gives a raf'un. So for now, raf'un, like we did in previous class, what raf'un will look like. We'll see what it looks like for this level. Okay? Then when you then call this ismuha. That is it's ismu. So it's moha. When you have the mubtada, it becomes clearer by the time we go to the examples. Just follow the explanation of the rule. So the once that is the mubtada that has been changed to raf'un, that has been made raf'un, becomes the ismu. We call it ismuha. Now, wayansibu, and it gives nasbu to the khabar, of the jumla. So in a jumla ismiya, you have mubtada and khabar, two parts. I will explain that also. So when you have the canon, you introduce the canon to that sentence. So you have a sentence. This is the mubtada, this is the khabar. So you have two parts. And this form what we call the jumla to ismiya. It has the mubtada and it has the khabar. Now, when you now introduce the third one, the new one we are talking about, which is the canon. So this is the canon. This is the canon we're talking about today. This is the canon. You add it to what we already have, mubtada and khabar. So we now have three words. This is the mubtada. This is the khabar. You now have canon coming. So what the canon does is that it turns this mubtada to raf'un. Okay? It turns it to raf'un. Raf'un means, for instance, it raises it. If we use that terminology. If we use that terminology, so 1 minute, let me do some analysis. I want it to be as clear as possible. So if I delete this, so when canon comes, it elevates. Let me use that terminology. So it elevates the mubtada, but the khabar remains, or we can say it demotes. So when we have an elevation, we have a demotion. So it demotes the khabar. So this is basically what the canon does to the two. You can see they were on the same line before, but when canon came, one went up, the other came down. Okay. Now, so that is the khabar. So this one is called ismuha, ismu of this, ismu of the canon. We no longer call it mubtada. And this also changes. We call this one khabar. This one retains its name anyway. The mubtada becomes ismu, then the khabar remains the khabar. And these are what some of the other ones that does that. Now, what we have just explained, let us see how it works when you see them in sentences. It becomes clearer now. So you have here in the first one, Udrus wa lahiz. It says, Udrus, learn and lahiz, observe. So initially, this sentence you have your number one. There was no kana there. Initially, the sentence was Al-Arabu Qaba'ilu Qaba'ilu Al-Arabu Qaba'ilu Mutafariqa. Qaba'ilu Mutafariqatun. Okay? Without the kana. Al-Arabu Qaba'ilu Mutafariqatun. That was initially what you have there. When we now introduce this kana, what changed? So initially, al-Arabu is mubtada, qaba'ilu mutafariqatun is the qaba'ilu is the khabar, mutafariqa. We'll talk about that later. Like we mentioned yesterday, that is the nat of sifa. Like we mentioned, we've seen that before. Well, I don't want to distract the class from that. So the qaba'ilu is the khabar. Okay, al-Arabu qaba'ilu. Like we mentioned, remember when we were treating sifa or not, we said if you don't put the sifa, it does not describe completely what you are talking about. You won't understand what you are talking about. Now, for instance, ra'aytu waladan, I saw a boy. If I want to give it more meaning, I can say ra'aytu waladan tawilan. I met a tall boy. Okay, so those are the sifa. We've done that. Then let's spend time on that this class. We can do a quick revision. Now, al-Arabu qaba'ila mutafariqatun. That was the sentence. But when kana was introduced, it becomes what? Kana al-Arabu. This does not change. But qaba'ila now becomes fatha. Instead of qaba'ilu, becomes fatha. Okay, that is where it changes. And for sifa, typically to take whatever the qaba'ila takes. That is the mawsuf. So they will share the same signature, which is fatha fatha, qaba'ila mutafal. So this Arab is what we call the ismu canon, and that's what it's talking about here. While mubtada becomes what? Ismaha, that is the ismu. So we call it ismu canon. Al-Arabu becomes the ismu canon. That is the name of canon. That's what we call it in translation. Ismu canon. And qaba'ila, which was also the khabar, becomes what? Khabaruha. So qaba'ila becomes khabaru kana. Ismu kana is al-Arab. Wa qaba'ila is what? Khabaru kana. The khabaru kana is not these two words. Qaba'ila mutafariqa. No, it is just this one word. Qaba'ila. Okay. If that is understood, we'll see that that is the same rule that applies to every other thing we're about to read. So if you check here, this one says mazalat. This is the zalat. Mazalat. This is the other one is being used that was mentioned. This is mazalat al-ikhtilafatu. Mazalat al-ikhtilafatu bainaha qalila. Okay. Mazalat al-ikhtilafatu bainaha qalilatan. So mazalat is part of the akhawat kana. Then you have al-ikhtilafatu. This becomes the ismu kana. Then khabaru kana will be this qalilatan. So bainaha is just a preposition. Okay, bainaha just a preposition. Then Sorot, also, this is the sorrow. So a ta was just added like Mozalat. Sorot al-lugatul fasihatu lugatan. So Sorot al-lugatu ismu Sorot. Then you have lugatan khabaru Sorot. Then you have kana al-Qur'an. Al-Quran becomes the ismu kana here. The sababan becomes what? The khabaru kana. Kana. Without the kana, it would have been al-Qur'anu. Sababun. Sababun. The mountain. Sababun fi nash'ati ulum al-lugha. But because of kana, al-Qur'anu remains the same. But the sabab, instead of sababun, it becomes sababan. And that is why it says Wayen Sibu. So that change is what we call Nasb. That change from Doma to Fatha is what we call Nasbu. And that's why it says Wayen Sibu al-Khabar. It gives the Khabar Nasbu. Then you have here Zolla Kathirun. Zolla Kathirun. The Kathir. So this is the Ismu Zolla. Then Min al-Lugat al-Islamiyya. That is not a Khabar. And see, when preposition comes in between, that is not the khabar. The khabar is this. You can see maktuban. Why? Because this word can actually exist without the sentence. So this is not the khabar. Dhala kathirun maktuban. We can then ask later. But it's still a complete sentence. So maktuban is the khabar. بالخط العربي. ما زالت العرب. So this is zala being used again. ما زال العربي ناطقا. So you have a khabar زالت. And this is زالت. ليست نتيجة المقابلة. نتيجة المقابلة. نتيجة اسم ليست أو ليس. Then جيدة. جيدة is what? Is a khabar. جيدة. Now, أصبحت كتب العرب. أصبح, this is it. Processing ليس. كتب العرب. كتب اسمها منتشرة. منتشرة is the خبر. منتشرة خبر في أوروبا. Okay. So what is the meaning of this? كان العرب. The Arabs were. Why do we use كان? كان means were. W-E-R-E. So that is basically what كان wants to introduce. Wants to change our grammar. That's why we're introducing it. Because we want to add where. If I say or was, if I say I am in school, I am in school, and I want to change my sentence, I will say I was in school. I'm in school, I was in school. So I'll be able to do that if I use kana. I'll be able to say that kana. Or in English, another example is used to. So used to, if we say something used to be, it used to be this. But used to be in English means it's no longer obtainable. It's also possible in Arabic that the use is used to be obtainable, but no longer. So if you want to use kana, it's also one of those. That's the meaning of kana itself. So kana al-Arab, the Arabs were. It gives you the meaning of the Arabs were Qabaila. Qabaila, tribes. كان العرب, the Arabs were قبائل, tribes. متفرقة, dispersed tribes. قبائل متفرقة. We saw that in the passage. Mazalat has another meaning entirely from Kano, but they also do the same thing Kano does. Mazala means still. Still. Kano means was. But we want to say that thing still exists. Okay? It still exists. So we say Mazalat. So anytime you want to say something still exists, use Mazalat. So here you have Mazalat al-Ikhtilafatu. There still exist Ikhtilafat, differences of opinion or disagreements. Bainaha, between them, yani qalilatan, a few ones. The disagreement is few. Bainaha, that is baina the communities. Mazalat al-ikhtilafatu bainaha qalila. Simple. So that's how you use mazalat. Then sorrow, if something transformed from one form to the other. If it moves from one form to the other, that is when we use sorrow. So we say sorrow to lugatu for sihatu. That is the fusha. This very fusha. Al-afwan al-fasiha, lugatu al-fasiha. The lugatu al-Arabiyya that is eloquent. Lugatan, mushtarakatan, becomes a shared language among the Arabs. So you can see it wasn't, but it has become. So sorot, like we read yesterday, that was when the Quran came, then it became eloquent and was adopted by everybody. So it's now saying sorot, it became. So you can see the difference between kana, mazalat, and sorrow. Then kana al-Quran, we've seen the kana before. So you can now say Quran was kana al-Quran, the Quran was sababan, was the sabab. Sabab would mean the reason. Okay? Fi nash'ati, in the development. Nash'a means development of what? Ulum al-lugha. The sciences of what? Sciences of language. So the Quran was very instrumental. So sabab could mean the cause, the reason. Okay? Then you have dhalla. Dhalla kathirun. Dhalla. So dhalla means remain. To remain. That thing remained. So dhalla kathirun min al-lughat al-islamiyyati maktuban bil-khatt al-arabi. So dhalla kathirun, a lot of lughat al-islamiyya, a lot among min al-lughat al-islamiyya, among the Islamic language. Maktuban. Maktuban is written. Maktuban. So maktuban is the khabar of the dhalla. Then you have mazala. Mazala means it remains, like I mentioned earlier. If it still remains, still. Mazala al-Arabiyyu, Arabic, al-Arabi, natiqan, is still being spoken. Bil-Arabiyyati al-Fasihati, with the eloquent Arabic. So natiqan is the khabaru zala. You have laysat. Laysat. Laysat is used to negate that it is not, or it was not. Okay? It was not. It was not. So laysat natijatul muqabala. Natijatul muqabala, the result of the interview. So we say laysat natijatul muqabala, the result of the interview was not was not what? Jayyidatan, good. Jayyidatan, good. So natijatu becomes the ismu laysa, jayyidatan becomes the khabar laysat. Asbahat. Asbahat means become. It has become. Asbahat, it has become. Okay, it has become. So sorrow is different from sorrow. Sorrow means it has transformed from one form to the other, but asbahat has become. Okay, asbahat. Kutubul Arab, the books of Arab. Kutubu becomes the ismu asbahat. Muntashiratan. Muntashiratan. Widespread. Muntashir means widespread. It has become, the books of Arab has become widespread. Muntashiratan fi Uruba, in Europe. So asbahat, kutubu becomes the ismuha, muntashiratan becomes the khabaruha. Now, to further explain this, you have here an example. ضع خطا تحت اسم كان وأخواتها وخطين تحت خبرها واضبطهما بالشكل كما في المثال. So you have for each sentence one underlined and one double underlined. So al-hadara, they are telling us one is what? Ismu kana, and the other one is what? Khabaru kana. So for the first example, كانت حضارة العرب عظيمة. اسم كان وأخواتها. اسم is حضارة, خبر is عظيمة. Now, let's look at the second till the ninth. So كانت فرص التعليم في الماضي قليلة. So where is the اسم كان and خبرها from that?
نعم. اسمه كان فرص التعليم. خبرها قليلة.
فرص التعليم is not the اسم. فرص is the
اسم
كان is the ismu kana. I told you the first one. You have two words. So the first one is the ismu. So it is the furos. And the khabar is what?
قليلة. قليلة. قليلة.
قليلة. Good. Then the next one, الثالث. ما زال طالب العلم محبا للعلم.
طالب اسم كان محبا خبر كان.
خبر كان is what?
محبا.
محبا. And اسم كان is what?
طالب.
طالب. Good. الرابع صار المعلم مخلصا في عمله.
المعلم اسم كان مخلصا خبر كان.
نعم. المعلم اسم كان وأخواتها مخلصا خبر. نعم جميل. السادس ظل الجمل وسيلة السفر إلى اليوم.
الخامس
وسيلة الجمل اسم كان.
ما زال هدفه هو التالية. ما زال هدفه هي التالية.
I didn't get you. Again.
التالي.
We skip to number 5.
What is the ismu kana?
We skipped one.
Oh, I skipped one. So which one
Yes.
did I skip? ما زال هدف الطالب العلم. نعم. The fifth. ما زال هدف
ما زال
الطالب.
is the next.
ما زال هدف الطالب العلم.
نعم.
العلم.
نعم.
الهدف اسم كان
علما خبر
طالبا.
So العلم
علما
العلم is the خبر. العلم the second one.
خبر كان.
Then the next one. ظل الجمل
Yes, sir.
وسيلة السفر إلى اليوم.
الجمل
جمل اسم
اسم
كان.
كان
اسم كان.
وسيلة خبر.
الجمل اسم كان. وسيلة خبر كان.
خبر كان اسم كان وأخبار كان. جميل. أصبح الطفل مريضا.
أصبح
الطفل اسم كان.
مريضا.
الطفل اسم
مريضا
كان.
خبر كان.
مريضا خبر كان.
نعم. وليس البيت قريبا من المسجد.
البيت
البيت
كان.
اسم
كان
كان.
قريبا
قريبا
خبر كان.
قريبا
كان.
خبرها.
نعم. Then you have صار الجو حارا.
الجو اسم
اسم كان.
اسم
كان.
كان حار خبر كان.
حار خبر كان.
Now, Jamil. So I think this is understood now. So we will see. So going forward, watch how it's being used. Number one, you go back to that passage, then you see how it is being used. So we'll come back to that shortly. I'll be pointing them out as we move on. So here you have السفر لطلب العلم. السفر لطلب العلم. So let's have someone take this. Who wants to read this?
السلام عليكم.
عليكم السلام. نعم تفضل.
وعليكم السلام. إلى أين أنت مسافر؟ أنا مسافر إلى
إلى أين
الرياض.
أنت؟ إلى أين أنت؟
إلى أين أنت مسافر؟ أنا مسافر إلى الرياض. سألتحق بجامعة الإمام كلية الشرعية. أريد التخصص في المدارس في الدراسات الإسلامية، ولكنك تعرف الإسلام جيدا. درست الإسلام باللغة الأردية، وهذا لا يكفي. يجب أن أدرس الإسلام باللغة. يجب أن أدرس الإسلام باللغة العربية، لأنها لغة القرآن الكريم، ولا يفهم القرآن إلا بها. أنا مسافر إلى القاهرة. سوف ألتحق بجامعة القاهرة كلية الآداب. ماذا ستدرس في كلية الآداب؟ أريد التخصص في علوم اللغة العربية، النحو والصرف والبلاغة. لماذا تريد التخصص في علوم اللغة العربية؟ سأكون مدرسا مدرس اللغة العربية في الجامعة الإسلامية في جامعة الإسلام إبادة.
Islam Abad.
أباد. أوكي. إسلام أباد.
Ibadan
إن شاء الله.
in an Arab man's book. Abad.
أوكي. أوكي إسلام. أوكي في جامعة الإسلام الآباد.
That's Islamabad.
إسلام أوكي باكستان.
Islamabad.
أوكي.
So this is how you write Islam Abad.
آباد أوكي نعم. إن شاء الله. ويجب أن أعرف هذه اللغة الجيدة.
أن أعرف
هذه اللغة الجيدة. عفوا. أوكي عفوا. هذا هو النداء الأخير
والنداء الأخير
هو النداء الأخير لطائرة الرياض مع السلامة في أمان الله.
مع السلامة في أمان الله. So this is between Safar, between Sharif and Harun. Sorry, I think I remember something. I said I was going to talk to you about Naqis, So it's called Fi'l Madin Naqis. It's a verb, kana yakunu. You will see how it's been transformed much later, but not now. So it's a Fi'l verb Madin kana. Kana, okay? The Naqis. Naqis means it's a verb that is a bit not weak, but it is how best can I describe it in English? It has some limitation, yeah, naqis. It has some limitation. Fi'l madin a past tense verb, naqis with some limitations. And what are the limitations? Limitation is that you can't use that verb with just the file, the person doing the job. Okay? So for instance, I can say akaltu. If I say akaltu, I ate. Okay? I ate. I can also say nimtu. I slept. Okay? I can say dhahabtu ila al-madrasa. So all these verbs are short verbs that did not require an object. But for this verb also, you cannot use it in that situation. It's a must. You must have the khabar with it. That's why in all these examples you always see khabar. If you remove the khabar, the sentence will not make sense. That is why the verb has some limitation. That's why it's called naqis, because it cannot give you a complete meaning when used. You cannot say kana al-Arab. The Arabs were what? And stop a sentence. You won't get a complete sentence. That's why it is naqis. So it requires a khabar. It's like someone who cannot walk very well and requires a wheelchair. So because the person cannot walk, the person has some limitations. That is the naqis. So Kana and the sisters, they have what? Limitations. That's why they call them naqis. You must get their khabar to use them. Without their khabar, they are useless. So I thought I should mention that before I forget. Now, let's go back to As-Safar لطلب العلم. So it says, Assalamu alaikum wa alaikum assalam. إلى أين أنت مسافر؟ أنا مسافر إلى الرياض. سألتحق بجامعة الإمام. كلية الشريعة. أريد التخصص في الدراسات الإسلامية. ولكنك تعرف الإسلام جيدا. درست الإسلام باللغة الأردية. وهذا لا يكفي. يجب أن أدرس الإسلام باللغة العربية لأنها لغة القرآن الكريم ولا يفهم القرآن إلا بها. Sharif says أنا مسافر إلى القاهرة، سوف ألتحق بجامعة القاهرة كلية الآداب. ماذا ستدرس في كلية الآداب؟ أريد تخصص في علوم اللغة العربية، النحو والصرف والبلاغة. لماذا تريد التخصص في علوم اللغة العربية؟ Sharif says سأكون مدرسا للغة العربية في جامعة إسلام آباد إن شاء الله، ويجب أن أعرف هذه اللغة جيدا. عفوا، هذا هو النداء الأخير لطائرة الرياض. مع السلامة، في أمان الله. في أمان الله. Now, what's the meaning? Riyadh, Assalamu alaikum, alaikum salam. إلى أين مسافر? Where are you traveling to? إلى أين أنت مسافر? Where are you traveling to? He says, أنا مسافر إلى Riyadh. I'm going to Riyadh. I'm traveling to Riyadh. سألتحق. I will be admitted. سألتحق. I will be admitted بجامعة الإمام, the University of Imam. Okay, كلية الشريعة. And that is in the Department of Sharia, the College of Sharia. أريد تخصص. I want a specialty. تخصص means specialty. أريد التخصص. I need the specialty في الدراسات الإسلامية, in Islamic studies. الدراسات الإسلامية, Islamic studies. ولكنك, Sharif is saying, ولكنك تعرف الإسلام. But you know Islam, you understand Islam. تعرف, you understand Islam جيدا, very well. Then Harun says, درست الإسلام باللغة الأردية. I learned Islam by what? By Urdu. Urdiya means Urdu. It's from Pakistan. Urdu. I think they're speaking Urdu in India too. I think so. وَهَذَا لَا يَكْفِي. This is not sufficient. So for someone who studied Islam with Urdu, he's saying لَا يَكْفِي. يَجِبُ, it's mandatory, it's compulsory. And أدرس الإسلام, that I study Islam باللغة العربية, with Arabic language. You can't be studying Islam with English or Urdu. It's not possible. You need Arabic as well. لأنها لغة القرآن, because Arabic is the language of the Quran itself. If you don't understand the language, how can you understand the Quran? It's not possible. ولا يفهم القرآن, and the Quran cannot be understood إلا بها, except with Arabic. The translation of the Quran from Arabic to English, during translation, I've said it many times, meanings are lost during translation. It's difficult to translate from any language to another language. So when you do the translation, you do your best. But so many meanings are lost during translation. But to really understand a book written in that language, you have to study that language so that you can appreciate that very book. So that is what he's saying. La yufamu al-Qur'anu illa biha. So when you get different translations of the Quran, English translation, you'll see different versions. The versions are many. The versions are many. Different translations. So they all try to convey the meaning, but sometimes some are better than others in expressing the Arabic. So, but to get the true meaning, one is Arabic. That's what the author is saying here. La yufamu al-Qur'anu illa biha, except you understand Arabic. And it says, Ana musafirun ila al-Qahira. I'm traveling to Cairo. Sawfa al-Tahiku. I'll also be admitted to Jamiat al-Qahira, to the University of Cairo. Kulliyatul Adab, the College of Arts. Adab means arts. College of Arts. It says, Mother Satedrusu fi Kulliyatul Adab. What are you studying in the College of Arts? It says, Uridu Takhusus. I also need a specialization fi ulum al-lugha, in the science of language, al-Arabiyya, of Arabic language. It says, Sa'akunu mudarisan. I will become a teacher in Lughat al-Arabiyya, for Arabic. Fi Jamiati Islam Abad, in Islamabad, University of Islamabad. I've become an Arabic teacher. So I need to understand Arabic very well. Inshallah, if Allah wills. ويجب, for that reason, it is compulsory. أن أعرف, that I understand. هذه, I know. هذه اللغة جيدا, that I understand this language جيدا, very well. Then Harun says, Afwan, forgive me. Afwan means forgive me. هذا هو النداء. هذا, this is هو النداء. This is the last call. Al-akhir. Al-akhir means last call. Nida'u al-akhir. So in the airport they call. They said, flight this is the last boarding call. Or flight this. So he's telling them that is Nida'u al-akhir. The Ta'irati Riyadh. For the plane going to Riyadh. Ta'irati Riyadh is the plane going to Riyadh. So then he says, Ma'as salama. Ma'as salama is departing with, like we know. That is, go with salam, go with peace. Ma'as salama, then it says, Fi amanillah. Okay? Fi amanillah. Also, pray for you to be in the safety of Allah. Aman. Okay? This is simple. We can read this over and over to get the vocabularies and then use them. So we'll go to Isti'ab. Let's see how far we understood what we just read. So it says, دع علامة صحيح أو خطأ ثم صحيح الخطأ. هارون يغادر إلى الرياض صحيح أو خطأ.
صحيح.
صحيح.
نعم. هارون هو الذي يسافر. غادر means departing. يغادر means he's departing. يغادر means he's departing. Now, شريف يسافر إلى القاهرة للعمل.
خطأ.
قطع.
يسافر إلى القاهرة لماذا؟
لطلب العلم.
طلب العلم. هارون درس الإسلامية بلغته.
نعم صحيح.
صحيح. درس الإسلام بالأرد.
بالأرض.
نعم.
في إسلام أباد. هارون سيلتحق بكلية الدراسات الإسلامية. هارون.
صحيح.
صحيح.
And the last, شريف سيلتحق بكلية الآداب.
صحيح.
صحيح في القاهرة. نعم. التدريب الثاني، أجب باختصار عما يلي. أجب باختصار عما يلي. نعم. لماذا يسافر هارون إلى الرياض؟ لماذا يسافر هارون إلى الرياض؟
يسافر هارون إلى الرياض لطلب العلم.
بالالتحاق بجامعة الإمام.
نعم.
نعم. Good. Good responses are correct. ما المواد الدراسية التي يريد هارون التخصص فيها؟
علوم العربية.
هارون.
هارون
علوم الإسلامية.
هارون تخصص في الدراسة الإسلامية.
ومن الذي يدرس اللغة العربية؟ شريف. نعم. لماذا يسافر الشريف إلى القاهرة؟
يسافر شريف إلى القاهرة ليلتحق بجامعة القاهرة.
نعم. شريف يسافر
جامعة إسلام آباد. نعم جامعة إسلام آباد.
لا.
القاهرة.
لماذا يسافر
بجامعة
شريف إلى
القاهرة.
القاهرة؟ شريف يسافر إلى القاهرة لماذا؟
لطلب العلم.
للتحق
للالتحاق بالجامعة you can say
لالتحاق بجامعة القاهرة في كلية الأدب.
في كلية الآداب. أين تقابل أين تقابل هارون وشريف؟ أين
في
تقابل هارون وشريف؟
في المطار.
وشريف
تقبل في
في المطار.
المطار.
نعم.
في المطار. جميل good. نعم كيف عرفت ذلك؟ كيف عرفت ذلك؟
أم،
قال هارون هذا نداء الأخير لطائرة الرياض. إذا هما في المطار.
جميل جدا. جميل جدا. عرفنا أنهما في المطار بهذا الكلام. قال عفوا هذا هو النداء الأخير لطائرة الرياض. مع السلامة في أمان الله. نعم.
نعم.
لذلك عرفنا أنهما في المطار. نعم. جميل. نعم مفردات متى نقول العبارات التالية في أمان الله؟ متى نقول في أمان الله بشخص؟ متى نقول في أمان الله؟
إذا يغادر.
نعم عندما يغادر أحد. نعم very good. Whenever someone departs عندما يغادر أحد نقول في أمان الله. جميل جدا. عفوا متى نقول عفوا؟ عفوا assignment go on. مع السلامة متى نقول مع السلامة؟
نعم
عند what؟
انتهي.
سبحان الله.
عندما
حين يغادر شخص.
نعم جميل. أو عند انصراف. Also عند انصراف. These are انصراف means when someone departs. So you can also use that. So عند فرقة when people depart. So you have several options. So that's when we use مع السلامة. Or when you can also say عند مغادرة. مغادرة during departure. مغادرة انصراف. عند مغادرة عند انصراف وما إلى ذلك. نعم شكرا لك. متى نقول شكرا لك؟
إذا يساعدنا شخصا.
شكرا لك.
أو
عند الشكر you can say during thanks. إن شاء الله متى نستعمل إن شاء الله؟
إذا نراد أن يفعل شيئا.
عندما نتمنى when we wish for something.
أتمنى.
نعم نتمنى.
نعم. Then we have alhamdulillah.
في كل حال.
الحمد لله في كل حال. نعم الحمد لله عند الشكر وعند المصائب لله. نعم شكرا. So we'll stop here. I need to jump to another class inshallah. Before that you have this ماذا يدرس الطلاب في كلية الشريعة وفي كلية الآداب. So fill out this. What do students study? الشريعة كلية الآداب. So fill this out. Then همزة الوصل والقطع again. We'll look at همزة الوصل والقطع. So but this is تدريب. We'll look at the تدريب next class. Then حروف المضارعة كما قلت لكم هذا الكتاب يدرس القواعد والتحدث والكتابة وما إلى ذلك. So that is it about the book. So it combines several things. So I have to go now. So inshallah نلتقي الأسبوع القادم بإذن الله. وقبل ذلك حاولوا أن تكتبوا هذا الاختبار كليات الشريعة وكليات الآداب. نعم. ما
إن شاء الله.
يدرس الطلاب. نعم. ما يدرس الطلاب في كليات الشريعة وكليات الآداب. نعم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته.
وعليكم
وعليكم
السلام
السلام ورحمة الله.
جزاكم الله خير.
جزاكم الله خير.
وإياكم.